The City Below the Cloud by T.S. Galindo. Read by the author. Chapter 5. The Dispensary. Set and Kalan entered the dispensary in silence. It was another large open area on a floor near the middle height of the city, similar to the market. The layout was much more ordered, however. An enormous pipe ran across the ceiling from one end to the other, splitting off at regular intervals to smaller pipes that ran down near the floor. From there, smaller tubes fed into larger cones, which fed into waist-high boxes. A thick layer of dust covered the tops of the pipes and boxes. Acid rainwater trickled into the room through the walls and all along the bottom of the pipes and dripped from the machinery. Monkeys ran back and forth across the tops of the pipes and along the machinery, looking for any food to steal. Some would crawl around on the floor under the lowest pipes between the boxes, grabbing scraps that fell to the ground. They'd also reach around and grab food right when someone opened a box to get their meal. It was chaos. Crowds bunched up around the boxes furthest from the dripping. It was easy for pickpockets to operate, since anyone at the dispensary would have some charge on them. Knowing this, people shoved their way to the boxes, trying to get their meals first. There were no queues or orderly processes. The goal was to get in and out as fast as possible. Set and Kalan went to a corner box near the wall where the main pipe came into the building. It was far enough away from the main pipe to be somewhat dry, but close enough that it was often avoided. They'd be able to get their food without having to fight any people. Set went up to the box while Kalan stood behind her facing the other way to block anyone from getting too close. Set put in a pip and waited for the door to unlock. She slid her foot across the ground underneath the box in case there were any monkeys lying in wait, then opened the door and pulled out 2 bowls of rice and 2 cans of water. They made their escape, holding the food close. They went out onto a metal walkway and sat with their legs dangling up the side. They ate their rice while looking out over the city, watching the signs crawling over the sides of the buildings and occasionally disappearing around the corners. It was like a slow dance of lights through a midnight fog. Set wanted to talk about Canner, but she didn't want to tell Kalan what happened. She knew Kalan wasn't too fond of the glowpunks. It wasn't that she didn't like them, or thought they were dangerous. She just preferred the stability of a task out of a terminal to hoping to find something to sell. Scavenging at the yards was one thing. There was always a steady stream of rubbish to go through. But the punks didn't spend too much time in any one place. They got bored and moved on, preferring to do as little work as possible, even if that meant they'd go hungry or have no units to sleep in most of the time. She didn't think Kalan would want her following them around. Set thought, I would have gone with them if they'd asked before Canner got fried. I wanted to even after that, but I can't leave Kalan, and I don't want to. Can I have both? What would happen when the punks wander out of the mushroom district? Kalan wouldn't want to leave. She loves it here, and she loves scrubbing, more than any other task anyway. Maybe I could convince her to switch to spraying the buildings. It's kind of like scrubbing, just with poisonous paint. She'd never go for it. Kalan was trying to make sense of her cycle without actually thinking about it. Even picturing the mushrooms on the lift for a moment made her shoulders tense up. She hadn't started eating. She just stared out over the landscape. Kalan thought, what'll happen if I did get hit with some spores? Set's tough, but I don't think she can make it on her own yet. Do I tell her? No, I can't. I don't even know if anything's wrong yet. I can wait a few cycles. If I start feeling wrong, I'll tell her. What then, though? It's not like I'd be able to get better. And even if there's nothing wrong now, eventually something's going to happen to me. I need to try to make sure she'll be okay without me. Set noticed Kalan hadn't started eating. She was already halfway through her own rice bowl. She slowed down so Kalan could catch up. Set thought, she's always forgetting to take care of herself. She's going to forget to breathe one cycle, and I'm going to have to be the one to remind her. I know she thinks she's taking care of me, but I don't think she'd make it without me. I don't want her to have to either. The punks are fun, but I feel safe with Kalan. It's always been the 2 of us. I remember when she told me she wanted to leave the group of kids we grew up in. I was so worried and hurt that she'd leave me, but she never even considered leaving without me. And here I was thinking about joining some glowpunks because they tell jokes. No, I don't want to leave her. Someone's got to look out for her. I'll make sure she'll be okay as long as she's with me. Kalan took a bite of her rice. It was stale. It didn't usually have much of a flavor, but this was like the opposite of flavor. She forced herself to keep eating. She saw how Seth always watched her eat to make sure she had enough. She knew Seth felt like she was the one taking care of her, but she knew she wasn't ready. Kalan thought, even back when we were in the group, she was always trying to take care of everyone, but she was too young to be the leader. No one ever listened to her but me. I was getting too old for the group, but I didn't want to leave her there. The group was getting too big. There wasn't enough to go around. I could tell it was going to collapse soon. It would split into a few smaller groups, and there'd be a few kids that'd end up alone. I couldn't let that happen to her. We had to leave, and I'm glad we did, but it's been hard since then. I guess it was hard while we were in the group too. Everything's always so hard. Never enough time to rest. Seth finished her rice and started chewing on the spoon. Both the spoon and the bowl were edible, made of compressed rice. She liked the spoon best, but she needed it to eat the rice, so she always had to wait until she finished to start on it. She watched Kalan get through her meal mechanically. An image of Jax falling backward and then of Canner's body falling into the chute flashed in her mind. Seth thought, what if that had been Kalan? What if she falls off one of those platforms she works on? I need to get her to stop being a scrubber. We can make it if we both scavenge. Maybe we'd have to sleep in a hallway every now and then, but we can take shifts. It could work. Kalan cracked open her can of water and took a sip. She thought, this is stale too. How can water go stale? Maybe my tongue's messed up from the mushrooms, or maybe they really did get me. Too many weird things happen this cycle. I need sleep. I need to stop scrubbing. It's just too dangerous. I can't die and leave Seth alone. Maybe we could both scavenge. We might be able to manage if we work together. Nah, scrubbing pays too well. It can be dangerous sometimes, but so is everything else. I could get cut on something at the yards, or the piles could collapse on me. At least I know scrubbing. This was just a weird cycle. I just need sleep. They both finished their meals and sat in silence for a bit. Let's go find a unit. Maybe we'll get lucky like last time and find one with a mattress, Kalan said. That was nice. We hadn't found one of those in a while. I slept so good. Until your alert woke me up, that is, Seth replied. Don't worry, I got a new one. No alarms. Kalan paused, then said again, don't worry. They wandered the buildings and eventually settled on a unit without a mattress pretty close to the yards. Seth spread out the tarp on the concrete floor, and they huddled together in the dark. Kalan checked the new task coordinator one last time. No sign of the 575th floor, and no alerts set for anything else. Let's try to really sleep this time. She tapped off the coordinator and rolled it across the room. She snuggled around Seth and closed her eyes, trying to sleep.